Hi there. Today I'll be talking as part of my Health 3004 module about why the children of Birmingham and Birmingham in general means so much to me, and why actually, even though I've always been passionate about this subject, why it's become a lot more relevant to my life. And I'll also be talking a little bit about some bits and pieces that I've learned during this module that both enrich my understanding of Birmingham, but also I feel will enhance my kind of prospects and understanding in the field of works that I'll be going into. So a little bit about myself. I'm Dominic, in case you didn't know. I was born near London. At a very young age, I moved to just outside of Birmingham to a town called Redditch. Now, although there's not a huge amount going on in Redditch and there's not that much interesting to say about it, if we're being really honest, it's an overspill town for Birmingham, and from a young age I've always kind of seen Birmingham as that sort of big city that's sort of off in the distance, and obviously when you can't drive it seems like absolutely forever away, but occasionally I would go with family members or with friends when I got a bit older, and I was just blown away by the scale of it. And I actually learned on this module something I didn't know, is that Birmingham's actually the second city of the UK, second to London, beat out by quite a bit, understandably, but still. And anyway, so I decided to move to Birmingham as part of my studies in primary education with QTS, and I moved to live as well. And one thing that I found was, even with the people that I live with, the diversity is just absolutely insane. Like different races, different religions, and the reason I went for primary education is, from a young age I was very much inspired by a few educators and teachers and role models that really showed me how much you can make a difference. And although Redditch is sort of a microcosm in a way of Birmingham, as it is an overspill town, it shares a lot of commonalities. It's very much a lesser version in terms of community, in terms of diversity and cultures, and I've really learned as I've moved to Birmingham, you know, through this module and also through working as part of a special needs school as a teaching assistant, that actually there really is like absolutely no bounds really to the amount that's going on. You know, you take a lot for granted, but when I've looked into a lot of the children's services, whether that be charities such as Forward Steps or the Children's Trust, I'd heard of these things before but never really looked into just how much good they actually do. So for example, I did some volunteer work at the Birmingham Children's Hospital when I was younger, and I didn't realise that they do a lot of leading studies, and it really does make you kind of think how many people out there are actually devoting their lives to this, and I've found it very rewarding to be working in the sector. But there's still a lot of work to be done. For example, you know, there's charities such as Child's Trust that deal with disadvantaged children, and disadvantaged in multiple ways. For example, I've looked quite a bit into poverty and how that affects crime rates, how that affects children's educational achievements, and it's become really clear to me with Birmingham just how places that are right next to each other, really it's a completely different world, and that I think it's very easy to take for granted what you do have and struggles that you haven't had to face. And unfortunately, there are a lot of youth that do really suffer as a result of circumstances out of their control, and I think it's just really made me want to stay committed and devoted to the cause. But I think, as I mentioned on my Mahara page, that one thing that really blew me away about doing my research and about working in a school is in the centre of Birmingham, is that the difference in cultures and communities and religions and everything else, but people pull together. And I think what's so beautiful about Birmingham as a city is just how much there is going on and how much it pulls from the best parts from cultures, and has really come together to form something really beautiful.